Hello friends, today we're going to go over a new and updated version of how and where to get every legendary item and blueprint in Arc Raiders in 2026. Some things have not changed at all, but many have. So without further ado, let's kick it off in no particular order, starting with the Kinetic Converter. An extremely brief rundown for the new Raiders out there. The Converter will improve your weapon's rate of fire by 15% at the cost of cooking your weapon recoil by 20%. Thankfully, not every weapon in the game cares about having bad recoil, and you can offset the penalty with other attachments too. I have an entire video dedicated to going over which are the best and worst weapons in the game to use the converter on. I'll leave that down in the pinned comment if you're curious and want to check it out later. At the moment, there is no blueprint in the game for the Kinetic Converter, but you can farm for them directly, which is actually way easier than you might think. There are 4 maps I recommend for farming the converter, starting with Riven Tides. The newest map in Arc Raiders has a pretty good loot spot up on the 4th floor of the hotel on the far west side of the building. Should be right around here on your map. If you're approaching the hotel from the outside, you can take this zip line up to the 4th floor, which should be there each and every time, then just head indoors and turn right to find the loot room. Go ahead and check every red locker in there and the recycling bins too. If the outside of the hotel is really heavily guarded by patrolling Arc, you can just head inside the building from the ground floor, then head to the west end of the building, and then take the zip line all the way up to the 4th floor. In those red lockers, you got a really good chance at finding high-level weapon attachments, including the Converter and the Anvil Splitter, even snap hooks, but more on that later. Dam Battlegrounds. My go-to spot on Dam is the buildings in the Hydroponic Dome complex. They contain both red lockers and breachable loot containers. You should do your best to open as many as you can. If that entire area has been already hit up, you can search the Ruby Residence and the Pale Apartment buildings. Look in any breachable boxes that you can, as well as any brown dresser drawers. Finally, and this one is very risky, but if you go all the way up to the very top of the control tower building when you're up on the roof, take the ladder down, not all the way, and then jump off to your left. There should be breachable containers out on that ledge that have a decent chance at high-level weapon attachments. Just make sure you bring a zipline with you so you can safely get back down off the tower. Or you can try to jump back onto the ladder, but yeah, kinda dangerous. Buried City. A few locations here. The first is the pharmacy building near the Piazza Arbusto. Reach into the pharmacy door at the bottom floor and then check every dresser drawer in the area that you can, as well as any small white cabinet drawers you find. The next location is down at the other pharmacy building near Plaza Rosa and the nearby Red Tower building. Head into the pharmacy building there and prioritize any brown dresser drawers you might find, and again, any small white cabinet drawers as well. Finally, this apartment building out on the west side of the map where the buildings are nearly connecting. You can zipline or snap hook up to a nearby ledge and then check the dresser drawers inside. Any of those locations have a chance to get you what you're looking for. Finally, Spaceport. My go-to area is the breachable room at the top floor of the container storage building, and then right after that, the breachable room at the top floor of the vehicle maintenance building right next door. You're looking to open any drawers or containers you find, just check everything. When you're done in both those buildings, you can check the very top of the launch tower structure. Way up top on the southmost tower is a breachable box, and there are some red lockers up there too. Finally, the top floor of the north and south trench tower buildings. I definitely recommend bringing a snap hook so you can easily get to the top of both buildings and then just take the nearby staircase inside. You're looking to open any breachable boxes and or any red lockers you might find. I also need to mention that Scrappy has a chance to give you a kinetic converter if you feed him the right food, which in this case would be agave. After you do, go into a raid, spend at least 6 minutes in the raid, then extract, come back home, and if you've fed him agave, he'll give you either a weapon mod or a component used in making a weapon mod. If you're extremely lucky, he'll give you a kinetic converter, but the odds of that happening are ridiculously low. I decided to keep track of my progress. I gave Scrappy over 100 agaves, and never once did I get a kinetic converter. You are way better off trying to just farm the item directly in one of the looting spots I went over earlier. Moving on, the Anvil Splitter. If you're a new player, the Anvil Splitter divides your anvil shot up into 4 different pellet projectiles, kind of like a mini shotgun shot. Each individual pellet does less damage than a regular anvil shot, but if you manage to land all 4 pellets on a target, you're technically doing slightly more damage than you were before. Some people like the Anvil Splitter, I do not, but you do you. Oddly enough, the Anvil Splitter blueprint does not yet exist exist in the game. The community figures that Embark is eventually gonna add it at some point, but for right now, you can only get Anvil Splitters by farming them directly in-game, which is extremely easy because literally every farm spot we just went over for the Kinetic Converter is the exact same farm for an Anvil Splitter. I will say that for whatever reason, out of every Kinetic Converter farm location we went over, the one spot that mathematically has given me the most Anvil Splitters is Buried City. Therefore, I'd recommend starting there, again on a night raid or any increased loot value map condition to really boost your chances. Again, Scrappy technically has a chance to give you an Anvil Splitter if you feed him Agave, because Agave pulls weapon mods or weapon mod materials. But to repeat, 100 Agaves and no Anvil Splitter and no Kinetic Converter. You can do that in the background if you want to, but you should absolutely just farm for Anvil Splitters manually. Next up, the Snap Hook. To any brand new raiders out there, the Snap Hook is hands down the best and most fun quick use item in the game ever since it launched last year. You basically unlock a whole new world of vertical movement, and after using it, you can just put it right back into your safe pocket. Easy. The Snap Hook Blueprint is actually pretty easy to find. You just need to wait for the Electromagnetic Storm event to show up. I gotta say, every time I have accidentally found a Snap Hook Blueprint, it has happened the most on Dam Battlegrounds by far, up in the Research and Administration building, specifically on the top floor in the office cubicle area. Head there right away and check every desk drawer in the area that you can, and also any breachable loot container at all. They can all contain the blueprint. I don't have the clip saved, but I'd also found a few additional Snap Hook blueprints on the Blue Gate map, also during the Electromagnetic Storm event, just by breaching random containers around the map. But yeah, if I'm being honest, just stick to target farming, research and admin on Dam Battlegrounds during Electrostorm, and you will find the blueprint in no time. If you're looking to farm the Snap Hook item directly, good news! The loot locations we went over earlier for the Kinetic Converter also all have a chance to contain a Snap Hook. Basically, if you're trying to farm a Snap Hook, a Converter, or a Splitter, you can just check all those locations we went over earlier. May RNG be with you. Again, I am legally obligated to mention that Scrappy has a chance to give you a Snap Hook if you feed him prickly pears. To repeat though, research indicates that you have a better chance of Sabrina Carpenter walking up to you at the bar and asking if she can buy you a drink than Scrappy actually giving you a Snap Hook. Use Scrappy as a backup method while you actively go farm for a Snap Hook. You'll have way better luck that way. Before we get to legendary weapons, a few items you may need in order to craft those weapons, beginning with the Matriarch Reactor. Matriarch Reactors can be found one of two ways. One, load into any map that actively has the Matriarch map event going on. If you don't know when that is, you can use the official map condition tracker on the Embark Studios website, although there are many third-party sites out there that work just as well. When you're in the Matriarch event, just go find the Matriarch and engage with her at a safe distance. Be really careful though, because she packs a mean punch, but your goal should be shooting and breaking the armor off of her legs. When that armor has broken off, you can use a smoke grenade to cover your approach, run up to the fallen armor, search it, and there's a very good chance you'll be rewarded with a Matriarch Reactor. Be careful though, they're incredibly heavy and you don't want to be over encumbered as you run away from the Matriarch. You can also get reactors from her dead core when she finally dies, but yeah, way easier to just strip armor off of her legs and loot those. Believe it or not, Scrappy can have a chance to give you a Matriarch core, but only if you feed him the fruit mix item, which you can only craft in-game and if you have the in-round crafting perk unlocked on the survival skill tree. Again, your odds of actually getting this from Scrappy are very low, but if you're feeling lucky, go for it. All of the materials for the fruit mix can usually be found on Stella Montis. If you head to this exact area on the map, you can look around for a battery on the floor, then carry it with you into the cafeteria area to open this door to the walk-in fridge. Inside, there should be baskets which often contain fruit, including what you need to craft the fruit mix, which should be 1 lemon, 1 apricot, and 1 prickly pear. And on that note, Queen Reactors. Queen Reactors can also be found one of two ways. Just look for the Harvester in-game event to be live. Again, you can use Embark's official map condition tracker, and when you're in there, look for the Queen who will be guarding the Harvester. It's exactly like the Matriarch. Use your best armor-breaking weapon to shoot the Queen legs until the armor protecting it breaks off. Then, using a smoke grenade or waiting for her to focus on somebody else, you can creep up, loot the armor, and grab the Queen Reactor. Guess what the other way of getting a Queen Reactor is? Wow, good guess! It's Scrappy, and like the Matriarch Reactor, you need to both feed feed him fruit mix, and also pray to the gods of RNG. Again, for the fruit mix farm, use the method mentioned in the Matriarch reactor section of today's video. And before we get to the weapons, one disappointment: the guitar. The guitar is a fun item that doesn't really let you do anything other than strum out a sweet tune whenever you want. It's basically a way to aura farm in Arc Raiders. You used to be able to get the guitar by doing a very fun in-game activity on the Buried City map, where you would run all over the map and hit many buttons in a specific order to open up a secret loot room. Embark Studios, though, has decided that they are allergic to fun, apparently, and that secret in-game event is no longer a thing. The only way to get the guitar now is to buy it from Shani at Speranza for 70 credits. You can only buy one per day, and wow, what an incredibly boring, soulless way to get a fun item that used to be really awesome to try and unlock. 0 out of 10. Alright, legendary weapons, starting with the Aphelion. It's a burst rifle which recently got buffed, mainly in the form of better recoil, better ADS speed, and slightly faster rate of fire. It's also the only legendary weapon in the game capable of rocking weapon attachments, which is quite nice. Not my favorite legendary, but respectable in both PvE and PvP. The Aphelion Blueprint used to be extremely difficult to get. You could only get it by looting the core from the Matriarch after she'd been killed, which was really competitive because once she died, everyone would be sprinting directly for the core. You can still get the blueprint by doing that, but it is much easier to just go to Stella Montis during a night raid and start opening breachable containers, red lockers, or green drawers on the side of shipping containers. I strongly recommend just heading directly to the loading bay area and looting literally every drawer or container that you find there. But to be honest, you can find the Aphelion Blueprint anywhere on that map with a little bit of RNG. Next up, the Equalizer and the Jupiter. These are arguably the two strongest legendary tier weapons currently in the game, especially after the recent buff to the Jupiter, and the fact that the Jupiter is a great way to damage the new Turbine arc, which is really dangerous to fight up close. The blueprints for both of these legendary weapons are found in the Harvester map condition, specifically by completing the Harvester minigame, so to speak. When you've loaded into the map, look for the Harvester icon on the map and head there. Trying your best to not get killed by the Queen, approach the Harvester, breach open the doors, and enter the Harvester. The minigame involves you climbing some ledges inside the Harvester and then breaching open several small plates. You're basically looking for 3 power cells that can be inside any breachable area contained within the Harvester, although usually the game gives you a free one laying on the floor most of the time. When you have 3 power cells, you need to take them to the center of the Harvester, breach open the slots under the center column, and insert the power cells. When all 3 power cells have been inserted into the center column, the room will spawn a bunch of yellow buttons all over the walls. You need to shoot each button until it breaks completely, and then you'll have finished the puzzle. When you've done that, 3 looting containers will emerge from the center column of the Harvester. Inside those looting containers, you got a chance to acquire either an Equalizer or a Jupiter Blueprint. Be warned, if you're in the Harvester and you hear a loud whirring sound, you should probably exit the Harvester right away so you don't get blasted by a metric F-ton of fire. When the attack is over, re-breach back into the Harvester and continue the minigame. The Harvester can also hit you with a giant electroshock attack, so be on your guard for that too. And finally, we have the newest legendary weapon, the Dolabra, which if you didn't know is basically a shotgun if you fire it in hip fire mode and a medium to long range railgun if fired when you ADS. The Dolabra Blueprint is very rare indeed and can only be found during the Close Scrutiny event. Feel free to check Embark Studios event calendar to see when the next one is. During that event, assessors will eventually drop down from the sky. In a nutshell, you need to approach one, breach one of the 3 columns open, and if you're lucky, it will contain, among other things, a Dolabra Blueprint. However, it rarely goes that smoothly because when you're around halfway through breaching, a ton of arc will get called down to your location, including Rocketeers and the relatively new Vaporizer, who can't wait to murder you. Your best bet to looting the assessor is to bring 2 items, a photoelectric cloak and a butt-ton of smoke grenades. Approach the assessor with caution and wait for the ledge to appear so you can stand on it and begin breaching the assessor open. If there is already arc in the area, you can throw down a smoke nade preemptively and then begin breaching. If there are no arc in the area, or if they haven't noticed you yet, begin breaching, and then about halfway through, when you hear arc start to get called down to your location, stop breaching and throw a smoke nade down directly at your feet. Then feel free to resume breaching. Cross your fingers you get the Dolabra Blueprint and put it in your safe pocket. Either way though, when you're done looting, whip out your photoelectric cloak, turn it on, and walk away to safety. easy. Rinse and repeat. I really do need to warn you though that as of the Riven Tides update, photoelectric cloaks have taken a noticeable nerf, and their duration when activated has been cut down to exactly 9.5 seconds of usage time, meaning you should probably bring even more smoke nades to make sure you can really get back to cover after successfully looting the Assessor. To repeat, the drop rate for the Dolabra Blueprint is low. Not scrappy low, but low. Therefore, you'll probably have to loot more than a couple Assessors before finally getting lucky. Just don't give up. Best of luck, may RNG be with you, and I'll see you next time.